I'm going on a trip again in a couple of days.
Oh, I get it. I often say nothing focuses the mind quite like knowing you're going to be leaving soon. So it's I got to go get more sunscreen. I've got to go get, oh, by the way, put everything in do not disturb.
I never put my suitcase away, so.
Oh, that's funny.
I literally just was like, I washed some of the clothes. I'm like, okay, these can just go right back in the suitcase. And I threw some of my
I
toilet
like it.
bags. Hi, Jason. Hello from Winnipeg. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you guys share this broadcast because it's been a little quirky with the crossover from Periscope going away, but it's not away. It's this weird thing. So please, if you guys can share, we greatly appreciate it. Josh Brothers and Laura Lee.
Hey.
I love that picture of Laura Lee, by the way, with the shades. Like, it's so glam.
It's good. Miss Cynthia's in here. Hello, Cynthia. How are you?
I am so excited. I'm just like excited for life today. Like, I'm just in a great mood. I actually slept well. I got
good
Starbucks today.
I'm drinking my Starbucks as well. They were out of venti cups, so I was like, well, I went for the Trenta.
To be fair, I sent Jeff, and he thinks Grande is a large. Bless his heart.
I do hate. Well, the nitro is that nitro cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
That's as big as it goes.
Really?
You can get the nitro and tall or grande, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, that is it.
Who would have thought almost 3 years later that you'd teach me something about coffee? I don't know if anybody in here knows, but Jason never used to drink coffee
ever
until we were on the Allure together for Olivia's 8th birthday almost 3 years ago. And we needed an upper for nighttime because we had late seating dining.
And I was so tired.
Oh, okay. We're like, okay, let's just get espresso before we go out. And you should have seen him. He was like,
so I ended up, if you remember, just shooting it like it's an actual like shot of liquor. I just shot the espresso, and you and everybody at the table were like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Oh, it's called an espresso shot, don't you?" You were like, "No." But man, I wasn't used to caffeine then, and oh my god, I thought my heart was going to explode the rest of that night, and then here I am.
And then we eventually elevated to double shots of espresso as well, too. Like the first couple nights we did the singles, and we're like, do you know what? What's an extra shot?
Oh god.
I mean, we kind of do that with alcohol too. What's an extra shot?
That is very, very true. So I am now I'm addicted to coffee.
So Jason, where are your puppies? I unfortunately have mine today because Jeff had to go into the office. But where are your sweet boys?
Mine are right here on the couch next to me. So
you might see a bell head pop up in the corner.
Yeah, it's quarantine working from home life. So
well, with Jeff putting in his notice because he's taking a new job to work more remotely, he's like, I kind of got to go in and help train up my people a bit more.
Hey, that's good. Cynthia, you're a coffee addict. I think I've seen you at Starbucks in the morning on cruises. So I am right there with and Haley is the best friend ever. She has seen me struggling on the promenade on the Oasis and just saw me and just went ahead and ordered my coffee for me at Starbucks. I'm just like, here.
I know you were like in your way and you go to get in line. I was like, no.
I was on the struggle bus that entire freaking cruise. The entire cruise.
Well, Jason, it is 11 o'clock. I'm going to flip over here. Sorry, just realized my mouse was on the wrong side. And let's get started.
All right. Well, good morning, Miss Haley. How are you doing?
So happy to be here, Jason. So happy to be here.
I am happy to be here as well. So for those of you who don't know, this is Today in Travel. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. You can find more information at todayintravel.live. I am Jason Poole. I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners and American Express travel representative, and my partner in crime, Across from me virtually is Miss Haley Whiting. Haley, why don't you say hello? And
Yes, hello. My name is Haley Whiting. I'm a 14-year hotel veteran, own a hotel style service company, and I travel blog. And needless to say, I live and breathe what I do, just like you, Jason.
I love it. I love it. So Haley and I think, complement each other well. She is far better at photography than I am. So if we're ever together and you want me to take a picture or something, ask her to do it because she is amazing at photography.
Thank you.
So
I
why don't you?
just think we bring it all together. Like you have this insane knowledge on cruising and even luxury travel, where I'm just like, hey, let's do this, this, and this too, and Disney and
I love
whatnot.
it.
We pretty much cover all the bases, I think.
I love it. So Haley, why don't you give us a rundown of kind of our agenda for the day, and then we'll get started.
Yes, absolutely. So same agenda as normal, guys. Now remember, this is more of a news briefing. We do casual evening encounters where it's a little bit more chatty back and forth with the audience, but today's show is all about bringing you the latest and greatest news, and then we can also chat about it in the online community, which is todayintravel.live. We always cover the hot travel topics, what's new off the presses, so you guys are aware of this ever-changing travel environment. We go through our list of countries that U.S. citizens can travel to, along with their requirements, a travel hack of the day, a question of the day that Jason and I debate, as well as Q&A topics for next week. And we also feature a question from our travel community today in travel. So, Jason, if you're a West Coaster, it's a good day to be a West Coaster, isn't it?
It is a good day to be a West Coaster. I'm not on the West Coast, but there is a new airline, Avelo Airlines. They were set to launch early 2020, but because of the pandemic, they decided to hold off their launch. So their job is, or their goal is to service some of the smaller airports and some of the underserved routes because of airline consolidations. Like one of the ones they're talking about is something like Burbank to Santa Rosa, California. So they're originally they're launching in 12 airports in Western states. And I'm excited for more competition because, with airline consolidation, some of the less traveled routes have disappeared. So West Coast, be on the lookout for Avelo Airlines.
I'm definitely a little jealous. I wish there was something kind of similar to this. I mean, we have, Delta, American, whomever that goes to either Newark, JFK,
Right.
LaGuardia. But for what it is, it's so expensive. Like that's a 40-minute flight for us. Like I don't even think we hit cruising altitude. I just wish there was almost like a more economical choice for like those quick routes, which is kind of what they're going to be
Right.
in California here in New York. Because I mean, if you're going to go Delta or American, I mean, you're paying at least $250, and it's like
Right.
you're not up there very long. But
no, I agree. No, I don't think this is going to be a luxury type experience. I mean, I kind of see it more as like a JetBlue Southwest, but they haven't really released pricing plans and seat map for the airline jet. But we'll keep an eye on it. So West Coast, you're going to have some more options very, very soon.
Absolutely. And to answer a quick question about that to Mr. Jarvis, they're doing 737s.
Oh. Yes,
which is nice. I mean, it's not a CRJ.
All right. So we keep talking about Hawaii because it's a beautiful place to visit. The governor of Hawaii is proposing a vaccine passport. He issued a proclamation and said if you can prove you are vaccinated, and you'd have to upload it on a portal, you can skip the quarantine period upon arrival, and you do not have to show a negative COVID test to arrive. The plan has to be approved by the director of Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. It's expected to be approved. So hopefully soon you can just go to Hawaii without taking a test or quarantining.
I think this is great. And thank you, Cruise Life Rick and Derek, for those Super Heart Awards. We appreciate them. I think this is great because the tricky part about Hawaii, and I've seen this all over so many travel boards, is having that test done 72 hours before your last leg. It's not just before your departure,
Yep.
It's before the last leg. And there has even been confusions based on the time zone situation. Like I read about this couple that lived in California, did their test, and it got sent out to an out of state lab for some reason. It was through CVS, but they registered the time the test was taken in Eastern Standard. And
Oh,
that created a huge issue. So I think getting some of that barrier down is going to
I
be
agree.
really, really helpful because, as you know, you and I know it's a big swing. It's a 6-hour swing in the opposite way for me. And I know when I've
Yeah.
looked at taking Olivia, I'm like, all right, I have to do a test by this time.
No, I agree. So I'm cool with it. It is interesting to see how we're starting to come down, at least in America, among like political sides of the aisle when it comes to like vaccine passports, right? Because you have some states like Florida, who the governor actually went in the exact opposite direction and is saying no passport or no vaccine passports are allowed in Florida. President Biden said he does not support a vaccine passport as far as a federal type of ID situation. So I think we're going to see a bunch of just random patchworks of states depending on the politics in that area.
You nailed it right on the head. And I actually posted a link in Today in Travel this morning where this gentleman put together a list of every single state's travel requirements. Like New York, actually, I think it was this morning or late last night, just announced that international travel coming back into New York, like me going to Mexico next week and coming back, I don't have to quarantine because I've had a vaccine.
Right.
I think we're going to see that. I do feel like some destinations it makes sense. Like for Hawaii, I think a vaccine passport makes sense. It is an island, limited resource. I think that extra protection needs to be there for that local native population and just
I
for
agree.
safety
I mean,
reasons.
I think Hawaii is very unique in a unique situation. So I'm total okay with it.
Yeah. But like you said, it's going to be a patchwork, and make sure you guys stay tuned to Today in Travel because that is something that we are constantly updating.
So this is kind of exciting news. Malta announced Friday that they're going to pay you to visit their country. So if you stay at least 3 nights in a 5-star property, they will pay you €100. And if you stay at a 4-star property, they're going to give you €75 and 50 if it's lower than that. And what's great is almost all the hotels have said they're going to match it. So if you stay at a 5-star property for at least 3 nights, you'll get €200 just straight up to use however you want in their country. I know it's not a ton of money, but I think it's great that Malta is doing just something, whatever it can, to try to get people back to its country. I've been to Malta. It is truly beautiful. We're season 1 of Game of Thrones. King's Landing was filmed, so we can reenact our greatest Game of Thrones fantasy. So do you think we'll see more countries rolling out incentives like this?
Absolutely. I know that right off the bat, I know Sicily has a plan to unveil something like this, which I'm really interested in.
I like it. Yep.
But I think you're going to see that more and more, especially destinations like Sicily, like Malta, that necessarily aren't the easiest to get to.
Right. Right.
They require a little bit more planning. I think it's great because especially in that 5 and 4-star room category, there's room to play with incentives. And one of the things that I've been advising my clients on, which, low key name drop here, I'm actually about to do a project with 2 Ritz-Carltons for my company, not to name drop that a little bit. But, part of the focus on what these, hotels are starting to do is they're starting to create these packages where they're throwing out promotions for food and beverage and on-site activities to keep that money spent within the resort, because the average cost to actually break even on a room, depending on the property, is usually anywhere from about 40 up to $100-ish, depending on the amount of amenities. So anything on top of that is, gross revenue for the hotel. So they've got some play. And I think when you add those inclusions, and it requires less of those question marks that you and I talked about last week, that's what we're going to see more of. What do you?
No, I think it's great. It's like Malta's not a place that I think of when I've been there. But if I hadn't been there, it's not a place that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to Malta. You know, it's a great cruise stop, but it's not a place, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you've got to go to Malta. So doing something like this, now we're discussing Malta to our audience. So I think the plan worked.
And to that effect, you know, I think destinations like Malta and Sicily opening up give people that option. Like you and I have talked about that over tourism topic here.
Yep.
Like, you know, maybe they wanted to experience something kind of like the Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi Coast in season typically is super expensive. Well, you know, maybe give Sicily a try. It's not quite as busy as that coastline. Your money can stretch a little bit further, and you might even get a better experience because there's less people.
I loved Sicily. Loved it. Loved it.
I know
loved
you
Sicily.
keep rubbing it in my face, and it's something I want to do so badly.
I love it. I cannot wait to get back to Sicily. So just a quick update on some cruise lines. Disney just announced they are canceling all voyages through June. We knew this was coming. So
we did, but you know, I almost beg to wonder, how do I want to cruise like Rick? Nothing bad ever came out of Sicily. That just gave me a giggle. But Disney has kind of led the way in the theme park world.
Yeah.
On COVID procedures. And I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing a bit of that forward footing on the cruise side. Why do you think that is?
I think the Disney Cruise Line is a hobby for Disney.
Definitely can understand that.
I think it's a hobby. I'm not saying they're not profitable. I'm not saying they don't care about it. I just don't think the Disney Cruise Line is even in the top 10 most important things in their portfolio. So that's why I just don't think it's as important to them. So
I was just curious about that because, you know, you see them doing so many things.
Right. Also, some more bad news. Virgin Voyages have canceled all sailings out of America through mid-September 2021. I thought canceling through September was a bit aggressive, but they came out with some news that in August, they're going to be doing a very short summer season out of the UK for the Scarlet Lady, only for UK citizens. So I think that's why they pushed it out to September, so they could do a quick season in August. So the Brits will be the first people to sail on revenue voyages on the Scarlet Lady. So I'm excited for the reports in August. I wish Americans could be on it, but I really want to go on the Scarlet Lady. So yeah, that'll be great for the Brits.
I know. I was shocked when I saw that initial September. I was like, "Ee!" You know, that kind of jolted my system a little bit. But you know, I think based on their soft launch with that, you know, those media type sailings out of the UK, they really need to ramp up some steam.
I agree.
Figure a few things out, because even, you know, one of the things you and I have talked about is the demographics are drastically different. Like there's some people, like I'm excited to try MSC, for example, but the clientele and the way that the business is run is geared more towards Europeans, which the needs and wants are very, very different. Just like, you know, Royal Caribbean alters things for the Asian market.
Absolutely.
Different strokes, different folks. So I think it will be good for them to get a little bit more of their sea legs under them.
I agree. So I think it'll be great. So hopefully in September we can get them Virgin Voyages.
I know, I'm itching that. Like when they open back up, I will definitely book one of those first sailings, because it's just,
I'm too.
There's that, you know, those question marks. We need to answer them. It's purely for research, Jason.
Purely for research. So,
so we have the countries list here, Jason. There are a couple tweaks to this because St. Martin has two testing things that I added here. So they have you have an or you can do a PCR test up to 96 hours prior, or you can do the antigen test, pardon me, 48 hours prior. So that was added under here. I realized I didn't have Croatia under the 48 hours prior. So those were the two big updates on this slide. And then of course, with that slide, you have to have this one, which this has not changed. Countries opening for vaccine passports, no testing, which, you know, Greece has had RI. We've talked about that. But
right.
and I'm so excited for our question of the day to debate and discuss here.
I am too. So Haley and I discuss a lot of topics about travel and etiquette and procedures and what's normal, not normal, expected, not expected. And one thing that you have taught me, Haley, is, or we've discussed, is tipping, especially hotel staff. So full disclosure, up until very recently, I was not aware that it is expected to tip hotel cleaning staff. My argument or my thought was, well, they're getting paid well by the hotel, I assumed. I just I didn't know it was expected in like an American hotel, like it was like on a cruise ship or something like that.
So expected is a tricky word. Tips itself stands for to ensure prompt service. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, they make at least minimum wage, more than a waitress does. So people don't necessarily think of that. But at the same time, you got to think these people are making 10, 11, maybe $8 an hour, depending where you are in this country, to like clean your toilet, to make your bed, to, literally pick up after you. It's not necessarily you tip 20% like a waitress, but, a couple bucks here and there. So my tipping guideline when it comes to hotels, the US side, of course, there's other countries where this is not as customary. When you look at Europe, I believe Japan's another one. So my rule of thumb, if I'm traveling for myself, and I tend to be a pretty generous tipper, I tip daily because the housekeeper can change. And usually if it's just me, I'm tipping anywhere from $3 to $5. Also, the kind of room plays a factor in this. I mean, if you're in a penthouse suite and you tip somebody $3, that's kind of a little bit of a faux pas there. If it's my family, usually in the realm of $5 to $10 a day is what I normally tip. For cruise ships, a little bonus fact that Jason, I think you even noticed a difference once you started doing this. I will tip my stateroom attendant before and after the sailing. Like the first thing, like, when they come in and say, oh, hi, Miss Haley, how are you? Literally will tip them right there. And it's that little extra incentive. It's not that, they wouldn't provide good service regardless, but it's money's a motivator. I work in sales. Money is a huge.
No, I agree. Especially on cruises, I think I'm a pretty good tipper. I always tip extra. Not always, but most of the time I tip extra on drinks, even though your drink package includes the gratuities. So my rule of thumb is if they come to me, they always get a tip. And or they're making a really complicated drink, I always give them a tip. Yet if I go to a bar and just get like a glass of wine, they pour it. I don't always tip in that situation because tips really are included in the drink package. But I do like to tip extra. I always tip my room attendant extra if they do a good job, and most of them are great. I've only had a few subpar experience. Most of them are fantastic.
I will also tip bar and wait staff if they have that, like, remember me, even if it's just like that quick, glass of wine pour. It's like, oh, Miss Haley, do you want the, Pinot Noir again? Or, like if they have that, remembering, I always do. Eddie asks, is that included if you stay one night? I still tip even if I only stay one night in a hotel, because I will tell you, I have worked housekeeping and that kind of work is backbreaking. Like, maybe you didn't need a lot in that one night, but that housekeeper is cleaning anywhere from 10 to 20 plus rooms by themselves. And Lord knows they probably had a couple rooms from families where there's mashed goldfish crackers into the carpet, stains, other awful atrocities that I will not discuss here that I have seen. So it's just, it's those little things that make your day. Like
No,
$2 literally will make somebody's day. And it's just kind of that pay it forward, I think, mindset too.
No, I agree. And I think it helps do better service, and like those people are making your vacation special. So I agree. You have opened my eyes to tipping hotel staff. And, I just didn't even think about that. So thank you for teaching me something new that I need to be tipping.
Absolutely. There is a slight question that relays, when are tips included in the drink package? Where did you come up with that? Mike Macefield is asking.
And Cruise Life Rick already answered it in the chat.
Perfect. Sorry, I haven't scrolled up. All right, let's go to our tip of the day, Jason. I'm so excited about this one.
I love this one. You taught me something else. You taught me. So tell me what your tip is.
Okay, so this is not necessarily a cost-saving tip. It is always going to be cheaper for you to try to bring your own stuff with you. However, as you can tell, I have very long hair. I have a daughter with very long hair. So when I'm going on a week plus, cruise, vacation, I will actually ship. I go on Amazon, I grab shampoo, conditioner, a larger toothpaste, sunscreen, like the body sunscreen. I bring my own face sunscreen, and I ship it to the destination ahead of time. Sometimes if I'm doing a land trip like Disney or something like that, I'll also ship like a 12 or 24 pack of bottled water to my hotel room. That saves money actually going down the line, but it takes weight out of your suitcase. It takes space out of your suitcase, and then you can leave it when you're done, because a lot of hotels also take shampoo, conditioner, whether it's theirs or not, and it gets recycled and remade into soaps that go to low income communities.
So how does this work? Do you inform the hotel that a package is coming? Like, you call them beforehand and let them know? Do they hold it for you? Do you get it when you check in? Like, what's the process here?
So as a guest, I always call and double check. I'll usually have it sent a couple days before I check in, just to alleviate that stress of, making sure it's there on time. From the hotel side, what most hotels do on this back end is they usually have a closet or a room in the back office where packages go. So as soon as you get one at the front desk management, whomever, cross-references the name to the system to see when there's a future, if there's a future reservation. If there is, they put a note in there, package in back office, package in mail room, package in wherever.
Okay.
And it goes back there until the guest checks in. Keep in mind, some hotels do charge a fee, like we stayed at a DoubleTree, no, the Hilton in Fort Lauderdale, the Marina Hilton.
I remember this.
Yep. I thought it was ludicrous. I think it's crazy, but they charged a $5 fee, but still at the same time, to have that room in my suitcase, to not have to land for vacation, go run to CVS and Walgreens and pick up this kind of stuff, it was still worth it for me.
I think that's a great tip. I will definitely utilize that, because, that stuff takes up a lot of space. So I think that is a great tip.
Absolutely. I love this one. It's so easy. It's easy and it's convenient. That's the biggest thing. Because, yes, you can go to Walgreens, but I want to go to the pool. I don't want to go to Walgreens when I land.
That's true. That is very true.
All right. We have a community question of the day from Kenneth J. from the todayintravel.live Facebook group. It says, can Americans get to Greece for the Apex?
Yes. The answer is yes. Haley, did you look up any of the flights?
I did. There's a lot of options. There are direct options out of New York. There's options with connections. During the summer, finding prices as low as about $550 round trip, which is that's pretty standard for Athens out of New York. Lord knows I've priced this a few times, which is why last year when I originally had Athens booked for $298 round trip out of New York, I was like, what a find. But $550 I think is a good price for round trip Europe, and some of those were direct. So yeah, absolutely. Cruise Life Rick is game for the Apex if the price drops some. Rick, I'm waiting it out with you. I'm just kind of sitting here monitoring the pricing. And that's something, actually monitoring the pricing. This is a slight unsolicited tip. You can do the same thing with hotels. Like if you book a hotel right now, say you want to do the Apex out of Athens, check it again in a month or so. As long as you didn't book a prepaid advance purchase, you can just rebook and cancel the old reservation, because hotels will do that. They will drop it just like cruise lines.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great tip. Yeah, so Kenneth J, thank you for the question. Thanks for the question, Kenneth J. Awesome. Well, I believe that is it. But you guys might have more questions. Some of you asked questions in the chat. Some of you have messaged us about topics. The best place to ask questions, post travel tips of your own is on our Facebook group. You can get to it by todayintravel.live. We have just a great community. People post questions, post photos. Like someone posted a picture of the celebrity Millennium in St. Martin the other day, and I was just like, I was like, oh, I can't wait to sail on the Millennium out of St. Martin. So it's a great community. Join in. We're having a lot of fun. So
cruise like Rick wants to know we can get the Today in Travel yacht charter going. I mean, Jason, let's get to work on
Let's get to work. Invite your friends to the group. Let's
ask Kenneth J if he wants to go.
Like Kenneth J. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching us. Like I said, we do this every Tuesday. Next week's going to be an extra special episode. So stay tuned. Next week, special episode. So, all right, guys, we'll have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Haley, it was great chatting with you as always. Cannot wait to do it next Tuesday for our special edition.
I know, it's going to be so exciting. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will
thank you.
Travel